Professor, I found another fossil. Well, come on, quick sticks, show me. Behold, the helix fossil. Oh, that's, oh no. Yeah, it's just a regular shell. Alola. A few weeks ago, you might remember I drew some fossil Pokemon for the Johto region because Game Freak just didn't want to. And, well, they weren't my most loved designs, okay? I mean, understandable. They're a little creepy. I'll give it to you this time. But a bunch of you wanted me to make some fossil Pokemon for the other regions that never got any, so today is the Alola fossil Pokemon video. Buckle up! Alola was the first region to give us regional forms, being the Alola forms, so what if the fossil Pokemon were also Alola forms? Question mark. Well, I like that idea, but it kinda only half worked, so let me show you how it all went down. The two species I want to base my Alola fossil Pokemon on are the Moanalo, which are a group of extinct ducks, and then for the other fossil, I want to make a Carelia Cochlear. Not Coachella. Latin moment, you know. They were a species of large land snail found only in Hawaii. For the duck, I tried my best to adapt it from Archon because, you know, it's also a bird and it's also a fossil, and it would be cool to have Alola forms that are not Gen 1 Pokemon. My sketch was actually going very well. I got into a bit of a groove, a rhythm heaven groove, if you might. I was actually really intimidated by drawing Archon because it's got one of those designs that feels a lot busier than it actually is. Like, this guy is pretty chill. It's not that complicated, but for some reason, when I draw these little guys, I just add too many lines and too many frilly bits where there doesn't need to be anything at all. Oh my god, it just turned into a mess in the end. Regardless, I still continued because we got work to do. I'm trying to do as many references as possible today. So I finished it off and then continued on to Archeops, or something Archeops adjacent. Essentially just the evolution to what I made. It's not looking so good, guys. It's not looking great. I normally have everything on mute when recording my drawing for the video, but this time I forgot to mute my microphone, and so I just really want you guys to hear the not so silent struggle I went through. That is the deep, long-held sigh of a man who just knows the fakemon ain't hitting today. So, redo. Reflecting on the designs I just poorly attempted, my main issue was that I tried to adapt one bird design into a completely different bird, and it just sort of derailed the entire vision. Like, the vision was hit with smokescreen. Artistic accuracy harshly lowered. This little birdie is looking so much better, and it's quite cute. Dare I say it looks like a spiritual redesign of that one peanut Pokemon that looks a bit like a spiritual redesign of that one mushroom Pokemon, Mrs. Bloom Doom Breloom. That sounded so much funnier in my head. I really wanted its wings to have some sharp rock-like claws on the tips. I don't know if they can be considered talons or if talons are like only the claws on the feet. You know what, let me just do a quick Google search. Okay, so all talons are claws, but not all claws are talons, I think. Honestly, my research wasn't even research. I read a little bit of Wikipedia and then I did another Google search to see if what I learned was true, and then I ended up on a 2-hour deep dive into the development of a video game that I've never heard of. This is why the video's late, by the way. Overall, I am stoked with this design. It is so much more simpler than my Archon, and I think the design elements piece together really nicely. Is that a word? Nicely? Okay, I'm not saying the red squiggle thing while writing the script, so I'm just gonna say that's a yes. For the colors, I went with some very natural earth tones. I feel it's pretty appropriate for this design. Alolan Pokemon official art tends to be a lot more vibrant than like every other generation's art for some reason, so I'm making a conscious effort to reflect that in my artwork of these fossils. I think it's also like a good opportunity to show off that earthy and beige tones don't necessarily mean dull tones. Like, even the literal gray is vibrant here. It all has to do with how you use the colors in your piece and how well you match them up. For the evolved form, I am leaning more into flightless bird territory and sort of expanding on the more Nalo inspiration. I have kept the beak and head the same because it's cute and I like it. Next question. The claws are massive. Those are chestnut claws if I've ever seen some. It seems like the natural progression from our little guy's scissor hands. I'm surprisingly not having the worst time imaginable drawing a bird Pokemon. It's kinda nice, to be honest. Originally, I had these longer tufts of fur where the legs start, but I changed them back to the little orbs that the first stage has, and then I just made the leg itself be like covered in fur, which just looks a lot better in my opinion. The talons are thicker and have a lot more definition in them. As for the eyes, I tried a couple quick things, but then I settled on a really cool Fezandipity type eye. After taking a solid step back and just soaking the whole design in, it honestly looks quite derpy, and I did consider maybe making some changes to make it more of a palatable design, but honestly, no. Sometimes Pokemon just gotta look weird, and those Pokemon are the ones that I end up liking the most, funnily enough. I have recently become a big fan of Barbaracle. Never thought that would ever happen. I think the weird designs just help Pokemon stay grounded and just like more authentic and realistic, you know, within the world of Pokemon, not our world, I guess. I don't know, this is either a volcano take or maybe someone feels the same way as me. Let me know what design category you like the most in Pokemon in the comments below. Okay, enough yapping. It's time to lock in. I am revisiting the Alola forms idea in the form of Omanyte and Omastar. Omastar, Omastar, Omastar. I'll be shining wherever you are. We don't have time for this, Kypha. Lock in! You know, without really trying, my fossil concepts actually kind of align with what Game Freak could have ended up doing. Omanyte is a Gen 1 Pokemon too, which is the only regional dex that got Alola forms. I'm trying my absolute best here to replicate how Omanyte looks in its official art. A lot of the Alola forms don't change a huge amount of the original design, so I want to keep that simplicity with the design here. In this case, I'm going to change the shell and slightly recolor the body as well to make it a deeper blue. Design-wise, that's pretty much it. Omanyte isn't the most complicated design out there. Its shell was a little tricky to draw because I'm not really well practiced in coiling objects, but I think I got it down right. I used the eyedropper tool on my reference photo to assist me with getting a good color for the shell here. I like these little wavy accents. I just think they're neat. These shells were researched to have been used by land snails, so this means I might make Omanyte a grass type in lieu of its water typing. I did color the body in blue, but I might change it to green. It kind of just depends what looks best, to be honest, but I do really like how this blue looks against the red or orange of the shell. Let me know what the color is in the comments below. Omastar was a really fun one to draw. I've actually never drawn it before, so I have a lot to learn as I navigate its design. It's the shell that probably scares me the most because it looks weirdly complex and I'm not sure how to incorporate that into my Alolan design just yet. As with Omanyte, I just started with the body. Its proportions ended up being quite different to the original, but I prefer having slight differences over just tracing the original artwork and slapping a new shell on top. It also makes more sense the regionally adapted Omastar would have slightly different body proportions to the one in Kanto. I fixed the shell dilemma by changing the type of shell I used on Omanyte with Omastar. The Cantonian forms both use spiral/involute shells. In my Alolan forms, Omanyte's shell is turriculate and Omastar's will be turbinate. Once I marked in the shell shape, I got to work adding spikes. This is looking so freaking awesome, guys. I'm so happy with it. Like, what the heck? It almost looks like a mega evolution. Or it doesn't, and Pokemon Legends Zigzagoon Apom has poisoned me forever. That's actually the more likely scenario. Color-wise, all is the same as Omanyte, but instead of a squiggly line accent detail on the shell, I went with something triangular, since this is quite a sharp and, dare I say, edgy design. The circular nature of its eyes and mouth and the curviness of its actual body is more than enough to counterbalance the design and keep the Kiki to Booba ratio in check. Well then, here we are. It's time to take a look at some brand spanking new Alolan fossil Pokemon. First up, resurrected from the Talon fossil, we have Cooler Y, the duck Pokemon. It is a rock fighting type with the new ability Feathered. This ability allows it to have a stab boost with its flying type moves, even though it's not a flying type. This Pokemon was restored from a fossil, but its extinction was fairly recent. Some have theorized it to be a direct ancestor to Toucanon. Starting at level 42, it evolves into Cooler My, the claw Pokemon. It is also a rock fighting type with the ability Feathered. Despite its flightlessness, it can shoot its claws into the sky to ground its prey before knocking them out with its tail. It's something oddly terrifying about a ginormous prehistoric bird with a dinosaur tail that just eats modern birds. Now for the Alolan forms, starting with Alolan Omanyte, which has been resurrected from the Golden Helix fossil. It is a steel rock type with the ability Lightning Rod. 50 million years ago, Helix fossils made their way to Alola and fused with various metals which affected Omanyte's form upon restoration. Starting at level 40, Alolan Omanyte evolves into Alolan Omastar, the spiral Pokemon. It is also a steel rock type and has the ability Iron Barbs. This form of Omastar never existed in the past. It is debated by scientists if it should be considered a brand new Pokemon. So that's them. These are those. I hope you liked my fossilized Alolan Pokemon. I hope you like the little bits of lore I gave them too in the Pokédex entries. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I like them a lot more than my Johto ones. Like, I mean, I kind of get it now. Yeah, I don't really like the Johto ones anymore. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos every single Fakemon Friday or Saturday if you live on Mirage Island, just like this guy. And thank you as always to the channel members. I really appreciate your support. Okay, now if you excuse me, I have a concert to attend.